According to Forbes, last year the Super Bowl was the most watched event in America, with more than 108 million viewers. But the really fascinating thing is why people watched. Several studies have proven that 50% of the Super Bowl audience tunes in to just watch the ads. Marketing and advertising is a multi-billion-dollar industry, but during an era of advertisement clutter, marketers are working harder and more creatively than ever to break through the clutter and gain your attention. Ultimately, companies spend billions of dollars a year persuading you to purchase their products and services. I'm a marketing major, and I've always had a passion for advertising. Based on my research from books, interviews, and documentaries, I've gathered significant information on how marketers persuade consumers. Today, I will inform you of the 5 points as to how marketers persuade consumers: the 3 modes of persuasion, the 5 sensory appeals, branding, peer-to-peer marketing, and finally, the code. So my first point, the 3 modes of persuasion. Logos. The logos mode of persuasion is using factual information to persuade the audience. This is done by utilizing facts, numbers, or statistics to support their claim. An example demonstrating the use of logos is when commercials stress the 99% rule. Hand sanitizer companies like Purell will claim our product kills 99% of germs. Ethos. The ethos mode uses a sense of credibility from knowledge or previous experience. Marketers are able to justify their claims in this way. An example demonstrating the use of ethos is when advertisements use the term "number one doctor recommended." Pathos. The pathos mode uses an emotional response to persuade the consumer to feel attached to the product or service. An example of this mode is used by the emotional ASPCA commercials. I know that I cannot watch those commercials without feeling horrible about the sad clips of the abandoned dogs. They also use a very emotional song to appeal to your attention. Now that we know how marketers use the 3 modes of persuasion, let us move on to how they incorporate the 5 sensory appeals. The 5 sensory appeals. The 5 sensory appeals used to persuade you to purchase a product are sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell. According to Martin Lindstrom, advertising campaigns are only targeting 2 senses, sight and hearing. However, to entice a customer to fall in love with a brand, the company must channel the other 3 sensory appeals, taste, touch, and smell. The goal for marketers is to leave the consumer with a full sensory and emotional experience. Marketers want you to remember everything about that product or service, not just the product itself. Retail marketers do not view your purchase as one might think. They view your shopping as an experience, from the way the salespeople treat you, the carefully designed layout of the store, to what music plays in the background. Even the smell you experience when you first walk into the store is designed with you in mind. Hollister has embraced the practice of appealing to the customer through smell. They have a specially designed aroma in their jeans being spread through the vents to create a memorable experience. When you go home and pull out your new favorite pair of Hollister jeans and the aroma surrounds you, you immediately remember your experience at the store purchasing those jeans. Now that we understand how marketers use the 5 sensory appeals to generate an experience like no other, let us channel into how they brand their company to more than just the product or service alone. Branding. So what is branding? Branding is a way for companies to create a reputation for themselves. It is what distinguishes one brand from the other. Branding is used to create a memorable image to consumers. This is done by using fonts, colors, and images for the consumers to remember and associate with that company. Team branding. It all started in the 1950s during the World War II and post-war era. Marketers argued that teens would be spending their parents' money on clothing, movies, makeup, and records. According to Alyssa Court, 17 wrote memos to advertisers promising that teens were copycats who could be trusted to imitate one another by wearing the same clothes and by eating the same food. 17 guaranteed its advertisers that by sowing the seeds of desire within girls would turn huge profits. In another statement by Alyssa Court, brands have infiltrated preteens and adolescents' inner lives. Preteens and teens are influenced by their peers. Therefore, marketers have engaged in peer-to-peer marketing. Children at this age desire to be like the popular girl in school, or the girl on the cover of 17 magazine. Magazines take advantage of this and underline that girls are not complete or competitive if they don't wear the same label dresses at their junior high school dances. A research conducted at Laval University found that their sample group of rich and poor kids had an equal and unshakable thirst for designer clothing. Now that we understand how marketers use branding, let us move on to see how they incorporate peer-to-peer marketing to gain the attention of teens. Peer-to-peer marketing. We all like to think that we are our own individuals, but ironically, we conform through our nonconformity, especially here at APU. Hires Root Beer in 1956 was the first brand to use youth-to-youth advertising. Hires went to multiple high schools and chose the most popular girl. Her job was to pitch the product to her peers, to the concession managers at sports events, to local drugstore and grocers, and to host Hires Root Beer parties. Then they were to report feedback back to the company about the product. They utilized seeding by involving the most popular clicks in hopes it would spread like wildfire. Fun fact, the same concept was used in the 50s by Converse sneakers. In a statement by Douglas Rushkoff in The Merchants of Cool, he described how kids will follow what is considered cool. Cool hunting is when you find the coolest kid in a social group, basically pay him off to wear your sneakers, your t-shirt, perfume, or buy yourself on whatever it is. And then hopefully this sort of pyramid social group under him will then aspire to have those products as well. So the sick thing about it is that it actually works. It works if you actually find the right people. The underlying lesson here is to get the popular kids to use your brand and other kids will follow suit. Now that we understand how marketers brand through peer-to-peer marketing, let us talk about how the code can crack open the psychology behind consumerism. The code. So what is the code? According to marketing guru Paulin, the code is how you understand why people do what they do. Once you can begin to understand the code, you can understand how your target market will react to your marketing strategy. Branding is used to create a memorable image to consumers. This is done through consistent fonts, colors, and images that you will associate with that company. For example, when you look at the word soap, they associate it with beauty. From there, you can channel your advertising strategies. In the book, The Hidden Persuaders, Vance Packard shares what he believes to be the secret to hidden persuasion. Marketers can persuade us if they understand we are image lovers given to impulsive and compulsive acts. The 8 Hidden Needs. The 8 Hidden Needs was designed by Vance Packard that meets the needs that marketers will try to sell to us. Emotional security, reassurance of worth, ego gratification, creative outlets, love objects, sense of power, sense of roots, and immortality. An example of emotional security is the home freezer. The home freezer represents to many the assurance that there is always enough food in the house. The food in the home represents security, warmth, and safety. Understanding the sociology and psychology behind why we buy what we buy as consumers gives marketers a competitive advantage. In conclusion, I have shared with you how marketers persuade you to purchase their products and services. I have shared these 5 main tactics used by marketers: the 3 modes of persuasion, the 5 sensory appeals, branding, peer-to-peer marketing, and finally, the code. So next time you buy a product, think about it. Was it really your own choice or free will, or were you persuaded?